guys, I am so excited to chat about this episode of Dancing with the Stars. There's a lot to unpack. I feel like a lot of things happened, a lot of crazy scores happened. The judges were kind of all over the place last night, so I have a lot to say. But I'm also excited because this is my last Dancing with the Stars recap before I have our baby. I will be having our baby next Tuesday. It makes me, I can't even believe it. I'll watch the show Monday night, obviously, but then Tuesday we go to the hospital. I won't be filming a recap. And honestly, we'll kind of just have to see how I'm feeling after baby. Who knows? Maybe baby girl will just want to chill here while I chat about Dancing with the Stars, but we will see. So as of now, it's looking like this is my last Dancing with the Stars recap of the season before I'm a mama. And that just makes me so excited and so freaking happy. Halloween night. I love Halloween. I love theme nights. I love costumings, makeup, and I mean, the team on Dancing with the Stars is so incredible, so props to all of them for making everyone look so good. We have Jeannie and Brandon first. They have a Paso Doble. Now, I was so stoked watching this package because you could tell that Jeannie was really getting into the character, and then right from the get-go of this routine, she was in character the entire time, from start to finish. And I was so impressed with that because a lot of times it's easy to like start in a character and like get in that mindset, and then once you get into the choreography, it's easy to kind of get a little bit lost or to have moments of like, it wasn't quite there. But she owned the character the entire way through. I thought the choreography was awesome. I also loved when she like stuck her hips forward and was like, yes, I'm doing Paso Doble, my hips are gonna be thrusted forward, because that's the position that you need to be in, and it's kind of an awkward position. So proud of her for just like literally giving it everything in that Paso Doble. I feel like she really, really nailed it. They got 8, 9, 8. So I would have given all 9s. I think it for sure deserved all 9s. I think it was her most committed performance, and I think as far as technique goes, she was committed and had the most technique in this routine and compared to other weeks. So I would have given straight 9s. I'm just gonna chalk it up to them going first. And also because then, come to find out later on in the night, judges were extremely inconsistent with their scoring last night. So it makes sense looking back, but at first I was like, really? Come on. So anyways, I would have given straight 9s. I thought it was awesome. Okay, next up we have Johnny and Britt. I was super excited for them. I loved the package. I loved hearing his story, and then also hearing that they want to make this their comeback week. They're coming back with a vengeance. It always feels good to have a week where you get maybe some low scores or you're maybe almost eliminated and you come back and you just crush it. So I had my fingers crossed. I was like, please let them have a good night. And they did. Their Beanie's Waltz was so, I can't even say just beautiful, because it was beautiful, it was creepy, it was entertaining, it was dark. Like, there were so many shades to it, and they performed it so well. Johnny seriously nailed the character. And he nailed the technique. This was the first time where I felt like he was finally rolling through his feet a little bit more and starting to get a little more connected to the ground, which is a critique I've had for him the past couple weeks. So that was super fun to watch, and it just made me feel good because I know going off of the week, like the week they had before with low scores, almost going home, I'm just glad that they could have a night of like victory, like yes, we're in this thing. So that made me very happy. They got 9, 9, 9. I totally agree with that. I was kind of surprised there wasn't a 10 in there just because they have gotten 10s before, and I do think it was good, but I agree with 9, 9, 9. I think it was great. Okay, next up we have Chavo and Gleb. They have a Paso Doble, which is a hard dance for a female celebrity. She's dressed as Maleficent and she looks incredible. Like, I love her so much because every single week she dives head first into the character of the routine. She gives it all of her emotion, all of her acting skills, and that's hard to do when you're not a dancer. So I commend her so much for literally every single week. I keep waiting for a week where I'm like, oh yeah, maybe that one wasn't really, but she just goes for it every single time, and it looks so good and it makes it so entertaining. So kudos to Chriselle for literally always bringing that energy and that connection to the performance. They had a paso doble. It was pretty simple. Like, I would say very, very simple, which is great, honestly. Sometimes as a pro, you keep the choreography simple so that your celebrity can learn it, feel confident in it, and kill it, and not be worried about making mistakes or having that hard step. So I actually totally get it, and it worked because it was very clean, it was very put together, and then on top of it, there was that awesome energy of the performance level. They got 989, which I will never, ever, ever be upset for a celebrity getting a high score. I think it's every single one of the celebrities and every couple works so hard every single week. So if the judges give you a really high score one week, that is incredible. This is where, though, I did notice maybe just a little bit of inconsistency only because just before we got to see Johnny and Britt dance, and their dance was much more difficult. The level of difficulty was higher and they executed it very well. So when you're seeing a couple that has a much more difficult dance, someone who has a little bit easier dance but still really a good dance, but they're getting the same exact score, that's where you kind of are like, how? So that's where, and it's funny because I mean, I love it, and I've been the couple that doesn't have as hard of dances but gets still a really good score, and it's such a good feeling because at the same time it's like, you want to reward each couple individually for what they do, but when it starts getting inconsistent of like comparison to the rest of the night, that's when it can be a little bit tough. So for me, I'd give Chriselle and Gleb 10s for that dance because it was so entertaining and because every step she did, she executed it well. But in comparison to maybe the dance right before, the level of difficulty wasn't as much. So to me, I can see how that feels a little bit inconsistent, if that makes sense. Yeah, I guess. Okay, next up we have Monica and Val. I love Monica, I've said it a million times, so I just do. They have a jazz, and it's a sexy jazz, which I was so stoked for because I think Monica is so beautiful, and then she has this like intensity about her that is naturally sexy. So I was super excited for this. I loved this routine. I thought the choreography was so much fun. Monica was in it from the very beginning. She was laser focused in on Val. She was playing the character. Her kicks, I mean, she like whips that high kick over Val's head and I literally like shouted. I was like, yes! Like, she is just so good and you can tell how much work she's putting in. This is where I got extremely upset. The judges give her a 7, 8, and a 7. I'm like, okay, 7s? Like, we haven't seen 7. That to me was such a low ball score. It's one of those times where you're just like, okay, what's going on here? Like, why? What is your purpose? What is your reasoning? It happens to one couple every season, and I was super upset because they definitely did not deserve 7s. I get it if they want to say maybe it wasn't her best dance, but that still should deserve at least all 8s, and that's where I got a little bit frustrated and started to notice, like, okay, where are we at here? Like, let's look back at what people have gotten what and how are we all of a sudden dropping down to 7s for Monica. I was upset and I literally was like, what? I like shouted at the camera, or at the TV. But yeah, so that was the start of my frustration with the scores. I just did not think that was justified in any way. Yeah, and it wasn't even like I'm just like disagreeing. It's like I see what the judges were saying, but I still don't even see how what they were saying correlates to a 7 for that routine. So upset about that. Anyways, let's move on. Okay, next up we have AJ and Cheryl. They have a tango. I loved the intro of this dance. I love that AJ was like, I'm down for anything. That is always such a good feeling as a pro for your partner to be like, yeah, I'll do it. Let's go for it. Fun, awesome, I'm in. So he absolutely nailed the character. The tango was good. I was actually very impressed. I feel like he had a minor breakthrough in his frame for the first time because there were moments of really awesome bits of frame where he was strong and locked in. Like Derek said, there's still some moments where you can tell that he's muscling through it, which means in this frame, instead of moving from his body, he's using his arms to make things happen, and it just gets a little bit bumpy. But I was impressed because I did see a lot of improvement from past weeks, because one thing that anytime he's done something in frame, I'm like, oh, I wish this frame was just a little bit better, but I saw last night that it is improving, so I was happy with that. Okay, they got 988. I kind of feel like the judges have been lowballing AJ this entire season. I feel like he came in and had such high expectations set on him because obviously we know he's had dance experience and we've seen his dance experience and he's really good, but ballroom is different, so that's not really fair to just like say that. But I do feel like the judges have been really tough on him, and I feel like I have too. Like, I think I expect a lot from him, so I don't know. I would have given that all 9s because in my opinion, I feel like that was the most improvement we've seen where he really took something that has kind of been lacking for him and made it better. So I would have given all 9s. Next up we have Nellie and Daniella. They have an Argentine tango. I am obsessed with Nellie. Like, I seriously love him so much. He seems like the nicest guy. He always goes for it. He's down for anything. Daniella nailed it with the choreo. This was just such a entertaining performance, and it was good too. It wasn't even like it was just entertaining, so I liked it, but Nellie was doing great footwork. He was getting into the character of the dance. He was there for her in all the lifts. I was just so impressed. They got 999, which, yes, like I fully agree with that score. I think this was their best dance, and I'm just so pumped watching them every week. Like, I'm like, ooh, what are they gonna do? I love his attitude, his personality. He just has the right mindset for this competition, so I think they're gonna go really far. Like, I think they're in the finals for sure. Okay, next up we have Justina and Sasha. They have a tango. I loved this. I loved the costuming, the character. Like, she absolutely nailed that character. She looked amazing. She got into it. I loved her screams throughout the dancing. Like, she was just fully invested, and she's like that every single week. So at this point, I'm expecting it, and it makes me happy that there hasn't been a week where I'm like, oh, dang it, that wasn't as much commitment as I'm used to. She's so consistent. Her technique was very good in this tango. Like, from a standpoint of the footwork, the heel leads, the frame, the body shaping, everything, like, she was really, really good. They got a 998. I'm like, what is up with the 8 again? I didn't get that at all. I'm shocked this couple hasn't gotten a 10 this season, at least one, because they've had so many consistently awesome dances, and maybe that's it. Maybe it's because she is so good all the time that they just expect it from her, so they don't like applaud it as much. I don't know. I would have given all 9s for sure. I would have loved to have seen 110, but it'll come for them. I know it will. Okay, next up we have Neve and Jenna. I love Black Swan. I love this theme. I love that he's going shirtless. Like, props to you, Neve. Good stuff. Jenna looks beautiful. And it was very cool because this song was a little bit slower and creepy, but they made it work perfectly with a paso doble, which is always hard to do. When a song doesn't really fit the style, it's hard to make it work, but they absolutely did. He had the shaping, he had the hips forward, he had the intensity that is needed in the paso doble. Literally one of the most entertaining performances, and they got a perfect score for it. The first perfect score of the season. I could not agree more. He has been so consistent, and not just consistent, like, he's not just always the same. He continues to get better and better and better and look more confident and comfortable out there. So I 100% agree with their perfect score, and I'm so happy that they got it, and yeah, they were amazing. Okay, next up we have Skye and Allen. I am like, my heart is kind of pounding for her because she's had a really rough go this season. I feel like she'll have a good week and then she'll have a bad week of like either a mess up or a slip or something. And last week was really rough for her. She had her pretty big mess up in her routine, and that can rattle you. That can make you super scared to even try to dance again in front of people and can kind of mess with your head. So I was like just crossing my fingers for them. They had Argentine tango, and she seriously nailed it. Like, I was so proud. I was beaming. I'm like, yes, girl. Like, when she finished and just was like, I did that, I was so happy for her. The choreography was awesome. She was doing everything very, very well. It wasn't even that she just like finally nailed all the steps. She nailed all the steps and did it very well. Performed it well, looked so mature, so into it, and so intense, and I was just so happy, so happy. They got 999, which is so deserved, and such a good comeback for her. Like, way to go, Skye, for just saying, you know what, it happens, and I'm just gonna move past it, come back even stronger, and that's exactly what she did, and I just can't wait to see her continue to do that week after week. Okay, next up we have Caitlyn and Arnold with a paso doble. I love that she's Cruella de Vil because I'm aware that Caitlyn loves dogs. I mean, I follow her on Instagram, I follow her on The Bachelorette, and I know that she loves dogs, so it was just kind of a funny twist on that. But this dance was great. Again, she always commits. I have to say, I loved this though because I feel like we finally got to see some attack from her. She was performing, she was acting and like playing a part, which is so hard to do, and I was so proud of that. I was like, yes, girl. Like, really, it wasn't just a smile or a pleasant face. Like, she was acting and telling a storyline. I was so pissed at the judges. Not all of them, but they got 7 from Carrie Ann, 9 from Derek, 8 from Bruno. Like, come on. 3 points difference. Like, it felt so orchestrated and just weird to me. I'm like, what is going on? I don't get it. I was very upset. I think that for sure at least deserved, because I get that maybe the technique wasn't as polished as it has been in the past, but I actually personally loved that because I felt like it wasn't as polished because she was diving more into the performance quality and the attack, which I love. That's what I love about dancing. So I would have given it a 9, but I think at least it should have been 9.98 if Carrie Ann wanted to drop a point for the lift. But I was just so upset. I thought that was very dumb. I thought they did great and I loved it. Okay, so that is it. That is our last couple. Then we go into elimination. I was super anxious because if you haven't noticed, pretty much every week it's been different couples in the bottom, which is scary because that means that nobody's safe. And tonight we found Brandon and Jeannie and Monica and Val. I was super pissed about both because I think they both had great nights. I think they both have improved every single week. There has been no like, oh, they're just kind of like staying the same or getting worse. No, both of those couples every single week get better and better and better. So I was upset. I'm like, I don't know who to save. I want both of them to stay. I just did not think that was right. We got 2 votes for Brandon and Jeannie and 1 vote for Monica and Val, which means Monica and Val go home. And I'm just gonna credit that to the scores. I mean, if they hadn't gotten lowballed so hard in their scores, I really don't think they would have been going home. And that's always sucky to see because I don't think the scores really reflected the level of dancing. I think they should have been higher. So I was bummed about that, but yeah. At this point, it's gonna suck because now I love everybody on the show. I think all of them are great. I think they're all getting better. So from here on, it's gonna suck because every week someone that I love, someone that you guys love is gonna go home and it's not always gonna feel like the right choice or maybe if it's fair, but that's what happens. That's why you guys need to vote for your favorites. And yeah, I am so grateful that you guys have been watching my recaps. It's been so much fun. Like I said, maybe this isn't my last one. Maybe I'll have my little baby girl and I'll want to keep doing it, but I also might just be like, you know what? I need to just be with my baby girl. So if this is the last recap, thank you guys for watching. This was so much fun for me. Still surreal that like this is the first season in such a long time that I haven't been a part of, but I have had the best time watching and supporting all my friends, and I could not wait to be back at it soon. So have a good day, and I'll see you next time.